The interactions between organisms can either be direct or indirect, and they also can either have positive impacts on each other or negative impacts. When you have direct interaction and the impacts are positive, you can describe that as a cooperative interaction. There's a number of different types of cooperative interactions out there. Mutualism, something called microbial consortia, which we'll talk about. Mixed species biofilms often are cooperative, and endosymbioses are cooperation between two different species. Alternatively, you can have direct interactions that can be considered to be defective. These would be interactions such as between exploiters and victims. In this case, one of the individuals gains and the other individual loses by the interaction. These are direct interactions, so typically this will involve some kind of violence. Often it's one organism eating another or otherwise destroying another or harming another organism. In indirect interactions, positive impacts are such as you see with nutrient cycling, when you have the freeing up of aspects of certain kinds of organisms, the mineralization, that is the bringing these the components of those organisms into a state that then available to other types of organisms. This, because you're essentially contributing to nutrient cycling within ecosystems, is I consider to be a positive impact. This would be an indirect interaction simply because the organisms that are producing, that are mineralizing other organisms are not necessarily being interacted with directly by those organisms that are taking advantage of the products of that mineralization. So as nutrients are freed up, other organisms are able to utilize those nutrients without necessarily interacting with what other organism freed up those nutrients. Alternatively, you can have negative indirect interactions. This would be typified by exploitative competition. In exploitative competition, what you have are two organisms that are not directly interacting, but they are using resources that the other organism needs. Any resource used by one organism is not available to another organism, and if the niches, the ecological niches of two organisms overlap too greatly, then the organism that's more effective at utilizing the limiting resource in that environment will be the one that is able to sustain itself within the environment at the expense of the other. The other may then go extinct as a consequence of these indirect interactions.